Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. I'm Chris Bell. Delighted to say I'm joined by Gareth Walker and Stephen Downs. And it is, of course, January deadline day. And, well, it's fair to say that for you two, at least, it's been a day of some form of action. Whilst I, as a Lincoln fan, have been sat here twiddling my thumbs as we offload a centre half and release a youth player, and that's it. First things first, how are you both? Are we well? Steve, Gaz, are you well?
It's about
all good. Yeah, all good.
Excellent. I mean, nice and brief. Look, let's.
How are you, Chris?
I'm okay. As I say, it's just been a bit of a dull deadline day. I don't think I'm not even just referring to Lincoln on that front. I think generally speaking, it's been a bit of a. It seems to have been like 7 or 8 deals repeatedly talked about all bloody day when it comes to Sky Sports News and all that sort of thing. And I'm not too sure whether we'll get any exciting revelations over the course of the next hour or so. Obviously, it's just an hour ago, but there's always the deal sheets and those still in the pipeline, isn't there? As Huddersfield have proved in the last 15 or 20 minutes or so as well with Ryan Hardy. Rather than kind of doing it individually, we'll kind of just come to a little bit of a quick rundown of the deals for deadline day through you each and kind of talk through a couple of them, I guess, as we go. So let's start with you then, Downsy. It seems like it's been a busy day over at the Acu Stadium.
Yeah, a bit different, really, Chris. We normally do absolutely nothing in January, so it's actually pleasing to get a few over the line. We've got a goalkeeper in from Newport County who I've genuinely never heard of. We've also got no, I genuinely haven't really.
Honestly, sometimes I'll swear your footballing geography and knowledge just revolves in a HD postcode, and that's it.
No, not at all. So we've got this goalkeeper from Newport County.
Nick Zanev is his name. Nick Zanev.
Yeah, Zanev, yeah. We've also got Bobby Wales in, striker on loan from Swansea. Don't really know much about him except for he's Scottish, which is interesting. But yeah, he's scored a couple of goals, and he seems like a bit of a big striker, which is something that I've been asking for. Then this afternoon, we got it confirmed that Herbie Kane is going out on loan to Plymouth, which I find is a bit of a weird one. I'm not going to lie. And then in the last literally 2 minutes, as my internet decided to crash before we came live on air, Ryan Hardy has signed on loan from Wrexham, which I think is a superb signing, although he is slightly injured at the moment. Apparently, it'll take a few weeks for him to get back up to full match fitness. But yeah, a great signing, that one. So that's a bit of a rundown for us. There was a rumour that Ruben Ruskin was supposedly going to be loaned out, or he wants to move back home. But obviously that deal hasn't transpired, seemingly, at this moment in time. I think clubs have got till 9 p.m. to sort any late business out that they've got the team sheets in for.
Once the infamous deal sheets are in, I think it does give them a couple of hour window to kind of get everything over the line. Gaz, Bradford City, let's talk through their kind of ins and outs over the course of the day.
Well, first of all, yesterday, Callum Kavanagh left, got on a permanent deal to Oldham. Callum Kavanagh, someone who came to the fore towards the end of last season, really. Still quite young, was possibly our only striker option towards the end of last season and played a lot of games and full of effort, full of running, just short of a little bit of quality at times. I think he'll do quite well at Oldham. And then today we've brought in Ethan Wheatley, the one that's been rumoured about for the entire window. Basically had it confirmed that it wasn't done because he'd been injured and now he's over the injury. So he's signed on loan from Man United till the end of the season. Had a loan spell at Walsall towards the end of last season. Didn't really pull up any trees. Then been at Northampton for the first half of this season. Only scored 3 goals, but I believe it's 3 goals from an XG of 3. So it's just a fact that Northampton don't really create too much. Yeah, and their fans speak quite highly of him as well. So it'll be interesting to see where he fits in because apparently he can play anywhere across the front line. And obviously with us playing sort of two either side of the main man. He could play in any of those three positions. There's also rumour that Tommy Lee is going to Bristol Rovers on loan till the end of the season, although that's still, again, not been confirmed. I'm imagining there's a deal street in for that. And that could be partly dependent on us getting another player in, because I believe we're after one as well, that there is also a deal sheet in for, but no names on that one at the moment as to who that might be. Few rumours flying around, but nothing confirmed as to who the deal sheet is that we've got in for at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the time will tell. We'll obviously keep an eye on anything that does come through. Whilst we're on over the course of the next kind of 45 minutes to an hour or so. Don't forget you can get your comments in as well if you are tuned in, joining us live. Let us know your thoughts and views through either X or through the YouTube chat. James, who is a Town fan, he says it's a New Zealand international. It is in Nick Zanev. He says it's a goalkeeper, not a wicket keeper. It's important to differentiate with New Zealanders. And then Joe, he's asking you the simple question of are you happy with the signing, Steve? And he says he's a little bit surprised at Herbie Kane going out on loan to Plymouth. So let's start with that. Yes, happy with the signing, Steve.
Yeah, happy with the signings. I mean, yeah, fair play. I get, again, the keeper, he's not really going to play. I think he's just coming to be third choice with Jacob Chapman going out on loan. I mean, it made sense from Town's point of view to send Chappers out on loan and get some real minutes under his belt. And, you know, we just need that slightly extra cover just in case Nichols and Alnwick get injured.
To be fair to Nick Zanev as well, like, he's a goalkeeper that has, you know, made a fair amount of appearances. Like, I remember him being Wimbledon's number one when they were kind of working their way back up through the leagues, for example. And
level. He's not like a kid. He's 29 years old, so he's an experienced goalkeeper. He's just not going to play, and I hope that he, you know, whilst he says that he's come to push Nichols and Alnwick, you know, Lee Nichols doesn't particularly get that injured, so he's not going to get much playing time. But yeah, right. I think the main ones are obviously the two lads that have come in up top. We found out obviously last week that. The weekend, that Radulovic, Big Bojan, is going to be out for 8 weeks, which is really gutting for the lad because he scored, I think it's 8 goals, and he's had a number of assists this year and played really well since. Even though, you know, the rest of the team has stuttered at times, Bojan's been one of the real shining lights. So devastated really that he's got injured. Obviously Alfie May's just disgusting red card has not been rescinded by the FA. So obviously that's a 4-game ban. So we did need some covering up top because obviously with Joe Taylor going out to Wigan. So the fact that Bobby Wales has come in, I think it's a really interesting signing. He's going to really fight for his place, obviously up top with Ian Charles, and then to get an experienced head like Hardy over the line, I mean that's just a fantastic signing. There's no real pressure on him. You know, he's coming in to really add experience to that forward line and be a bit of a bully up there, which I think in a Manning system, we spoke about it very much on the show yesterday, Town Talk, about the formation and how we all really like this new formation that Manning's playing, and it suits a big centre forward being up top. So yeah, it's going to be good. And yeah, obviously we Kane going, a slightly surprised because it means that the numbers obviously in that position are down by 1. However, I don't think he was ever going to get in front of McGuane now that McGuane's back fit. So I think it's been a great window for Town, except for Joe Taylor. That to me is the one downside. However, because of the two signings that
he was pants on Saturday, Joe Taylor. He had basically one opportunity with a 1-on-1. Rico Hackett trapped back, got back at him, and he shanked his shot well wide of the near post. So you're not missing much at the moment, it seems.
No, but obviously with the two signings that we've brought in, it at least does give Joe Taylor the chance to go get minutes out at Wigan, and that'll be the same for Herbie Kane. So I'm going for a surprise January transfer window when we've been quite busy. I'd say 8 out of 10. Pretty happy.
Yeah, can't complain with that. I mean, yeah, we were talking briefly about Bobby Wales yesterday, and as I said to you, he's going to be a quiz question in the future because the surname is Wales. He's played for Scotland, but he was born in Dublin, of course, in the Republic of Ireland. So it's
makes total sense, doesn't it? I mean,
it's baffling. How do you end up being called Bobby Wales, playing for Scotland, and yet you're born in Ireland? For one,
I think
yeah, he's about 5'11" as well, height wise. Is Bobby Wales, so he's a resource size. Ryan Hardy's the bigger of the two at 6'2", but obviously, as Terry 930 points out, sounds like Hardy's come to us injured, but it wouldn't be Town without us signing an injured player. And actually, you know what? That's going to be the thing for Ryan Hardy because he has had. This isn't his first injury of the season, and I think last season he had a little bit of an in and out season at Wrexham with injuries as well. So that's going to be the thing for Ryan Hardy. Getting fit, you know you've got a good League One striker on your hands. If you haven't got him fit, I guess it's a little bit of a low risk situation. Is that it's a loan? Excuse me. He goes back in 6 months regardless.
Yeah. Well, we've got obviously that's you've spot on there. But if you get it right, Chris, come May and for the playoffs, what a perfect man to have up top, in a playoff campaign or even the race for top two. I don't expect it to be there, but definitely definitely a good man to try and battle for those in those playoffs.
The Hardy one surprised me a little bit just because earlier in the window, certainly for the last couple of weeks, the press seemed to have been adamant that he's going to Bolton because obviously, and the story was that there were a few clubs after him. I didn't know if Huddersfield were one of them at the time, but a few different clubs after him. But he wanted to go back and play with Schumacher. Obviously, he was his manager at Plymouth, so that seems to have been quite a big turnaround today. That's obviously not happened, and he's rocked up at Town. So I think that is a good sign. Like Chris says, if he can get him fit.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't know if they signed the striker.
Bolton have. They have brought in Johnny Kenny, who is he's a Republic of Ireland international. He's joined on loan from Celtic until the end of the season at Bolton. So
maybe that's why they didn't go for
Hardy. Yeah, that's it. It certainly shows why they haven't gone for Hardy, and I guess as well.
If they've looked
how
at
long
him,
Hardy's out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've said in the statement, if you read it, it's they've very specifically put March, April, May as months in there. So I don't know whether that sort of tells you that he's going to be injured for at least 4 weeks.
Thank God for that. Well, if it's March, April, May, that does not to me sound like he's going to be back in time for the Lincoln game on the 17th of March. If they put April and May in there as well, keep him out for that and I'll be happy.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has seen this though. I know we're going off topic and we might speak more generally later on. But one of the big surprises this window that's just gone today is Keeler Dunn at Barnsley. He's gone to Wrexham, which has obviously meant that we can have Ryan Hardy in sort of opposite way. I don't know how, and we're talking that it would take at least 5 million to get him out of there. So they must have spent a good whack on him because I think he had 4.5 years left on his deal. And I'm pretty sure in Barnsley's position, what are they, 16th in the table? I mean, they're not particularly looking fantastic, are they?
No, I mean, one thing I also saw that Luton were being linked with something I've rated a lot over the last couple of years, and that's Luca Connell, the central midfielder for Barnsley as well. I'm just looking to see if that's happened at all or not. I don't think it's gone through because
he's
to be fair, that'd be again.
Is he Luca Connell?
He's captain.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like that has happened. And Christ on a bike, if you were a Barnsley fan and you lost Davis Keeler-Dunn and Luca Connell, you'd be. I think
Keeler-Dunn's a massive
canal and giving up hope and there being a relegation battle. I think you've lost a pair of them, but I did see that Barnsley brought in Tom Bradshaw on loan from wherever the hell he was last. Millwall, maybe. I can't remember.
Millwall.
Oxford.
There we go, Oxford. Thank you. To replace Keeler Dunn, which makes some sense. And Bradshaw's done well at Barnsley in the past. I mean, Keeler Dunn is a weird one. I do like him. I rate him highly. He's a cracking goal scorer. I saw him. He's one of those players that, as he's got older, he seems to have moved his position though. Because I remember going back 4 or 5 years when he was playing for Oldham, he was very much a wide man. Scored a couple of belting goals against Rochdale at Scotland, actually. But it seems in recent years he's moved into either a number 10 role or up front for Barnsley. But he's 28.
It's a big loss, though, for Barnsley, that. It's a big
loss for Barnsley. It's a lot of money for Wrexham. I just don't quite know if I would back him to be a success at Championship level. He's one of those players for me that would fit into that category of being a very good League One player, but possibly not quite Championship good. So it'll be interesting to see how he does.
His position changed when he went to Mansfield. I think he went from Oldham, he went to Burton. Never really settled at Burton, but they played him slightly more central. And then Mansfield picked up on that, took him to Mansfield, and he was an absolute revelation more centrally at Mansfield. He was like one of their star men, and then got the move to Barnsley off the back of that, and he's carried on his form at Barnsley and obviously got another move up again. Bradshaw's ex-Barnsley himself, isn't he? So he's gone back to Barnsley. Yeah.
I mean, look, as I say, we can afford to digress, I think, slightly and go a little bit off piece with deadline day, because obviously we've ran through the Huddersfield and the Bradford, and that's about it. Leeds in the end have come to nothing in the transfer window, of course, or certainly on deadline day. There was obviously question marks, and I know that Jay and Browning will probably speak about this later in the week ahead of the weekend's game, but there was obviously talk of them trying to get in on the Strand Larsen action, but that's not happened. He's confirmed by the looks of it for going to Crystal Palace, and obviously the Mateta deal's fallen through. So, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm quite surprised that if Leeds were looking at hijacking the Jorgen Strand Larsen deal, that they didn't have anybody else on the radar, it seems, to go for an alternative. Because, I mean, I was talking to Jay earlier, and I know he was saying that they've got 4 players that can play centre forward, but how many of them can actually stick the ball in the back of the net regularly? Because I'm not overly convinced by Okafor and the other chap that isn't Calvert-Lewin, and Pirro's shown so far that he's not a Premier League goal scorer. So
Nemecha.
That's it, Nemecha. I am concerned that if Calvert-Lewin gets injured, that they may not have the goals necessary to help him stay up. I mean, I know there's a big points gap for now, but that might not last.
Gaz?
I were hoping you'd take that one, Downsley.
I'll take it.
I will just say that I noticed that Chris used the word concerned. I don't think he'll find you being too concerned about them not scoring goals.
No, in a word, I think I've said all the time though that defensively Leeds look solid enough. They don't concede. I know they conceded against Arsenal. Bloody hell, most people will, won't they? I don't think defensively they're too bad at all. I've watched Leeds enough times this season to be convinced by the fact that they're solid. I've said since right from the beginning of the season, and I've been consistent with this, they don't have enough goals up top, right? And now DCL has had an unbelievable season, and unfortunately, the one time that he's actually played outstandingly well is the one season I say he's not going to score any goals. Of course, that would be the case. Nemecha, I'm not convinced by him. I'm similar to you, Chris. Pirro, we know, doesn't score goals at Prem level anyway. And yeah, Okafor, I don't know enough. I'm surprised haven't. I'm surprised that Leeds haven't not signed anybody. No, I'm not really, because obviously they've got to watch the PSR, haven't they? At the moment, those rules haven't changed, have they? Unless I've missed an entire day of somebody talking about it. So I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine with Leeds. I don't see Leeds going down.
Yes.
Yeah, I think with Strand Larsen as well, you're looking at the money in a twofold way, really, because haven't they paid like 50 million for him? Which on the flip side of that, Wolves could have had like 70 million in the summer, which seems really, really odd. Yeah, I just think that Leeds have probably looked at it and thought, hey, is he worth that money? He's having a poor season. He had, one good season last season in the Premier League, and then he struggled this season. But also, you wonder if he is set on going to Palace as well, because I thought that when the Mateta deal fell through, that'd be the end of the Strand Larsen one, but it's happened regardless, which makes you wonder whether he was quite set on going to Palace. Regardless of that, what I will add is Palace have spent 100 million on Dwight McNeil, Brennan Johnson, and Jurgen Strand Larsen. Now, I'm not sure how well spent that money is. I think time will remain to be seen. I'm not a huge fan of McNeil. Johnson, yeah, possibly, but he struggled at Spurs. And Strand Larsen, like I say, one good season in the Premier League. He's got a lot to prove for me.
See, I actually don't think it's too
I'm
bad.
the other way around.
Well, I was just going to say, I think me and Steve might be kind of similar. So I actually don't think it's too bad a spend, honestly. I think given the service, Strand Larsen will score goals. I think he'll get better service at Palace, certainly with the likes of Johnson and McNeil, if it goes through, although it doesn't seem like it's definitely gone through yet, by the way. The Dwight McNeil. I know it came up after the deadline had passed that Everton have accepted a £20 million bid for him, so time will tell if that does get over the line or not. It's one of those. I think from Palace's perspective, I actually think it's pretty good money on all counts, because I think I like Strand Larsen. I think he's a proper man that leads the line well. I think it'll be interesting to see now, and also take a lot of the pressure off Mateta as well, and see if they can either play together, but also if they're not playing together, it's a really good alternative to have, because I don't think too much of the other lad they've got, that Uche chap. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like the big question is always been with Palace this window, like who signed the players, because we know that Glass just said that he's off at the end of the season, but obviously that recruitment team and structure that certainly top level clubs have now is different to how it works lower down the pecking order. So it'll be, yeah, I think Palace haven't had a bad window myself. I think they've done quite well out of that. I know they've lost Mark Gay, and that's the big loss. But I think going forward, like attacking wise, it's a trio of not too bad signings. So I rated Dwight McNeil. I think when he was at Burnley was excellent, and a really good prospect. I think he's just suffered like so many players have over the last 4 or 5 years with joining Everton when Everton have been a really mediocre place at best, and they've somehow managed to take players that have come of having really good seasons elsewhere, and somehow they managed to look bang average at Everton. It's like the shine just gets taken off as soon as you walk through the doors at Goodison Park. So I think, and I think from McNeil, it might be one of those that look, fresh start, new surroundings, see how he does.
I really liked Strand Larsen last season. I've just watched quite a lot of him this season. Obviously, that you don't know how that failed move in the summer affected him, but I know, and I know Wolves have been crap, but he has looked. I mean, I watched him a couple of times, and he touches all over the place.
Yeah,
but I didn't really like him last season.
You
can regather things like that. What do you think, Steve?
I think I really. I mean, I know I put in the WhatsApp chat, didn't I, about Dwight McNeil, and I think he's all right. I think Burnley he created a hell of a lot of goals for Burnley when you look back. I think he had that outstanding season at Everton. I agree. Everton, unfortunately, is one of them clubs that, and I really like Everton. I know guys might not like that with the Liverpool connection, and obviously I have a bit of a Liverpool connection as well, but I don't mind Everton. But yeah, in terms of he had that really good season, and I agree with you. I think a lot of players unfortunately go to Everton and then they have a stutter or I don't know if I'd have paid 20 million, but yeah, it's fine. Strand Larsen, all I'd say, Gaz, is were you saying that was he set on going to Palace? He probably knows that Mateta is going to go in the summer, so he's going to be the main man in there. I mean, 6 months ain't going to make a lot of 6 months ain't going to make a lot of difference, is it really? And he might as well move to Palace, which is a team that he thinks hopefully will stay up, rather than staying at Wolves, at a team that's definitely going to go down. So for me, for the player, for the club, probably makes a lot of sense. 43 million plus add-ons to take it to 50 is a lot of money. Be interesting to see whether that money is well spent in the end.
Just playing devil's advocate on the fees for a figure for a minute. 43 million plus add-ons to take it to 50.
That's what they said on Sky.
Is it a lot of money? Because let's be honest, and I know that sounds mental, but let's be honest. In the Premier League now, you can see your average striker going for 40 mil now because that's just the ridiculous stratosphere of Premier League finances, like that you can end up paying 40 million for what could be an average player, or it could turn out to be a worldie. So it's a bit of a I'm like, you know what? It's about the norm nowadays.
It depends what Strand Larsen you get, doesn't it? If you get the Strand Larsen from last season, then it's a good deal. If you get the Strand Larsen of the last 6 months, then it's not a good deal. But I agree with what you say. 40, 50 million for a Premier League striker is pretty standard, isn't it?
It's Palace's record buy, by the way, ever. It's their highest ever transfer fee that they've paid for a player. So it does actually tell you where Palace have been sort of in the transfer market as a club. The one that I think is a terrible buy is Brendan Johnson, and that's not just because he's ex-Forest. I think I just don't rate the lad. I don't
leave
think
him alone.
I don't. Why? Did he play for Lincoln at some point?
We had him and Morgan Rogers in the same season, the season that we made the playoff final. We had Brendan Johnson on loan from Forest, and we had Morgan Rogers on loan from Manchester City, and they were both made beautifully by that Michael Appleton Lincoln side. So he was an absolute world beater. I know that was a low spelling League One, but he's got some talent. The only thing he lacks, and actually, you know what, I kind of feel the same about McNeil as I do about Johnson in this respect, is I think they're both really good technical wide players, but neither of them have huge amounts of pace, and that seems to be a trait nowadays. The wide players in particular lack nowadays because everyone wants an inside forward. Everyone wants a player that's going to be out there and then cut inside, and that the pace isn't as important as it used to be. But I think it'll work out okay. I mean, it's one of those. I think the signs that they've made actually will be enough certainly to keep them from being dragged into a relegation battle. It's just going to be interesting to see how Glasner works with what he's been given for the next 6 months before Glasner disappears to God knows where.
Yeah, I think 35 million for me for Brendan Johnson's quite a lot of money, but that's only because I don't rate him. Somebody else might. But yeah, I think Palace are always going to be sell. It's interesting though because you look at Bournemouth. And they've sold brilliantly this window. Like they've made tons of money. Like and they don't seem any worse off.
Well, they brought in that Rayan, didn't they? From Vitória Guimarães, Vasco da Gama, somewhere in Brazil. Anyway, I think it's Vasco da Gama or something. But like judging by his debut at the weekend, like they're not going to miss Semenyo one bit.
He's only 19.
Yeah. It's the wonders of Premier League football, isn't it? With the scouting networks, that can just spot these 19-year-old kids in Brazil.
I do want to ask Gaz though a question because I didn't know if he was going to touch on this, Chris. But what do you think to this centre back situation at Liverpool, Gaz? Because they've signed this lad, or supposedly they've signed this lad from Rennes, I think, in France, and he's only a young lad, but they've said there on loan, and he's going to come to Liverpool in the summer. And they were talking on. I was listening to Talk Sport while I was having my tea, and Danny Murphy was on. Who I really, really like Danny Murphy. I think he talks a lot of sense. But he was saying, if that was the case, and Rennes were only going to do the deal at 60 million, but they had to loan him back, why didn't Liverpool go in for another centre back? I do agree with that. I find it slightly strange when they need cover in that position.
Yeah, they're not going to. Liverpool fans are very frustrated that they've not brought a defender in this window to play now because everyone can see how threadbare they are at the back. Both right backs are injured. They've got two fit centre backs now because Canate has come back from his. Obviously, his father passed away and he was missing for a while. They only literally had Van Dijk as the only fit centre back at one point, and now Canate's come back. So they've got two centre backs, no right backs, and two left backs at the moment. So they are frustrated, but it's just the way they work in it. They'll have the targets on, and they won't deviate from those targets, regardless of how bad it gets. Injury wise, they were the same under Klopp. In fact, they've probably been a little bit more willing to go and spend they are a lot more willing to go and spend under Slot than they were under Klopp. And they wanted that lad there were talks of them signing the lad from Sunderland, who's on loan, Dutch right back Guttueder or whatever he's called.
Guttueder. Yeah,
they were talking about taking over his loan because he was actually Arne Slot's captain at Feyenoord, and there were talks of them taking over the loan from Sunderland, but that fell through because Sunderland couldn't get a replacement in the 24, 48 hours that obviously they had if that had happened. But I think long term,
he's really good as well.
Liverpool. Sorry, mate.
I think he's really good as well as Guttueder. I've been really impressed with him since he's come to the Prem. I liked him too when he was at Feyenoord as well, but I think he's a really good player.
The Sunderland fans really, really speak highly of him. He can play right back, centre back, or defensive midfield, so he adds a bit of versatility, which is what Liverpool need. He's a big lad, physicality, which is something Liverpool lack at the moment as well. But long term, obviously, I think next season it's going to be obviously, hopefully, Leone will be fit again, so they'll have Leone, Xhaka, and then they'll have Van Dijk. And the big one is Canate. Will he still be there because his contract's still up in the summer? He's still not signed. The story seems to be that if he goes, they'll move for Schlotterbeck, who's obviously the centre half at Dortmund. He's got 18 months left on his contract now. So come the summer, he'll have a year left, which means that Liverpool might look at that and think they can get him at a reasonable price if Canate was to go. So that seems to be the story, that they'll be the four next year. It'll be Van Dijk, Xhaka, Leone, and then either Canate or Schlotterbeck.
I think that'd be a really good way to go as well. Schlotterbeck is excellent centre half, really good. I just want to bring this back slightly towards our region, just because I've just spotted that we mentioned it earlier as well with Tommy Lee.
Yeah,
moved to Bristol Rovers at quarter past 8. That was confirmed as having happened. And I know Tommy Lee. Well, how can we put this mildly? Probably won't be the most missed amongst Bradford City fans.
Really, really strange footballer, Tommy Lee. Obviously at Accrington a few years ago, built his reputation up. Came from Accrington, one of those that Aki picked up from non-league, playing somewhere down south in non-league, and Aki picked him up. And he became a bit of a gem at Aki. Started out as a midfielder, and they actually ended up playing him as a false nine, and he won Player of the Year. I think that might have been when they were in League One, the year they got relegated back to League Two. And he's never really kicked on after that. My mate, who's a Stanley fan, says that after that season, he just regressed a lot. After that year where he got Player of the Year, he was just sort of never the same again, never hit that form. Seems to have lived off that a little bit, really. Obviously went to MK Dons. Didn't settle at MK Dons. There was the incident at MK Dons where he obviously, the fans took against him because he moved that shirt off the bench that was there to, what is it? The lad who died, is it Baldock? They had a shirt on the bench for Baldock, and Tommy Lee either sat down on the bench and moved the shirt, and it didn't go down very well. He didn't realise what he was doing at the time, to be fair to him. He only came out after and he thoroughly apologised. But there was that there, and then he's come up to Bradford, and at City, it's like we've never really been sure what position he is. He's played as the main focal point up front. He's played as either side off the front man, and then he's played a little bit this season. He's been central. He's played centre mid with Max Power, and he's never really convinced in any of the positions. To be honest, there's clearly talent there because, like I say, he's been a goal-scoring midfielder in the past. He's won Player of the Year at League One level at Stanley, but he's just never really convinced since that one season. Steve Evans, I've noticed, has spoken about I just had a quick look because I've noticed the deal had gone through. Steve Evans has said that they have a set position in mind where they want him to play, and he's spoken to Tommy about that. hopefully it does him the world of good, and he finds that position and settles and does really well. I know Steve Evans has also said that he's a player he's trapped for a while and he's tried to sign before. So maybe playing for a manager like that will do him the world of good. It's only a loan deal. He's got at least, I can't remember if it's 1 year or 2 years left after this at City. So if he does well and comes back, fair play. If not, he'll probably be moved on permanently in the summer. But he's meant to be a really good lad. Just never really settled at MK Dons or at City and never found a proper position for himself in either side.
Do you think somebody like Alexander, when he doesn't sort of not rate a player, but when he doesn't have that bond with the player, do you think that they get frozen out quite quickly? Do you think that's what's happened to Tommy Lee?
I don't know, because it was funny because he hadn't been seen for ages. He hadn't made the bench. He'd been sitting in the stands, and then he played against Lincoln last Tuesday night. He actually started the game, which was really random because he hadn't been seen for ages. What's interesting as well is those comments that I just said I'd seen that Steve Evans have made are very similar to the comments that Graham Alexander made when we signed him. We've got a set position for him. He's a player that I've been interested in for a long time. He's a player I've tried to sign before. He could have read it from the script that Alexander read out. So obviously managers see something in him. It's just him fulfilling that potential, really. There's something there. It's just never really kicked on. And we paid a fee for him as well, which is disappointing because I can't see us getting that back, and it's not something that City do. City are renowned for paying fees for players, especially obviously since the financial problems they had 15, 20, 25 years ago.
What did you pay for him? Nobody
knows. Rumour is it were about 100k. It was one of those undisclosed jobbies, but that were the rumour.
I mean, is that a lot for City to pay?
Yeah, it is for City because City don't pay fees.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking here as
we can't all be Huddersfield Town.
No, I was just going to say, well, when you paid 14 million for Isaac Mbemza, you know how to waste money. You know what I mean?
I mean, let's be fair, that 40-odd million for Jorgen Strand Larsen, I'm surprised Huddersfield didn't try and blow him out the water.
All right, Christopher. We know signings. Obviously, Lincoln are very, very confident, by the way, that these lads can get them through for the rest of the season, and you're not going to have any problems.
To be fair, we have signed it in January. Let me just think of who's come in. We let a couple of loanees go back at the start of the window. Josh Honohan's come in, I think, apparently about $500,000 from Shamrock, but he's not fit yet, so he hasn't played. Also brought in Delgi Elaroué from Bromley. I think he's a very good one, especially and to be fair, his arrival earlier in the window has meant that Lewis Montsma now is today gone from Lincoln up to Dundee after 5.5 years with the club. Probably Lewis Montsma is his first 18 months, to be fair, was absolutely superb. He was such a good signing. So he came in from the Dutch second tier. I can't remember exactly which club.
Yeah.
He was such a sound player. Like, he was a rare goal-scoring centre-half where he could bring the ball forward and just take a shot from distance and find the net quite well. He did it in the COVID season, actually, against Rochdale away. I remember watching it on TV. But he's just had so many injuries since with his ACL over the last 3 years. That, to be fair, I think there's been a little bit of sentimentality where the club have just kept giving him new contracts, 6 months here, 6 months there, extending it sort of thing gradually, but he's just never quite been able to get back to fitness. So for him, to be fair, to get a move to Dundee today, I think is a good move for him to go to the SPL. And then the other two that we brought in with that Ryan, I heard different pronunciations of it amongst Lincoln fans on Saturday, whether it's Ryan 1 or Ryan One, because it's O-N and then E with an apostrophe, with one of those little accents. So it's either One or 1, depending
it's
on
not one. It
on
isn't one.
So yeah, him and Alfie Lloyd came in from QPR. It's one of those. I thought there might have been maybe one in today. Possibly a centre mid, but it hasn't happened. So clearly they're fairly content with what they've done. But it's just one of those. It just goes to show, like, when you look at the window in the last couple of days for like Huddersfield and Bolton, for example, the different markets that we're shopping in, to be honest, compared to Lincoln at the moment, is just ridiculous. It's
compete,
mental.
Mate. You can't compete.
No, don't stop ganging up on me with your little money bags.
Hey, it's true. Like, we brought in a striker in Alfie Lloyd in on loan from QPR who spent most of the first half of the season injured at Leyton Orient. I think he scored 1 goal. I think maybe 8 games when he was fit for him, and we brought him in. To be fair, he looks all right actually. He looks quite a decent little unit, physically at least. He got about 10 minutes or so on Saturday, and then a young player on loan from Sheffield United, compared to, let's be honest, Ryan Hardy today coming on loan from Wrexham I know he's not fit right now, but it's completely different levels of experience and know-how at League One level. So, but yeah, we'll see, I guess.
I rated my window 8 out of 10. What are you rating your window for your clubs?
Go on, Gas. I'll let you start with that whilst I try and work out Lincoln's. I imagine this could be quite challenging. Actually, just before we come to that, I just want to touch on Ethan Wheatley, because, of course, he was the worst kept secret for the entirety of January. And literally on deadline day, on the 2nd of February, it's finally over the line. Your thoughts on Ethan?
Only what I said earlier, really, Chris. I've not seen a lot of him. I saw that, like I say, he's got 3 goals from 3xG this season, and he didn't do particularly well at Walsall last season. But Northampton fans speak quite highly of him. He's obviously played in the Premier League or come off the bench in the Premier League at Old Trafford, so United obviously see something in him. Apparently a bit of a pressing monster and can play anywhere across the front 3, so that'll fit in with the versatility that Graham Alexander wants up front. Hopefully he does well. Like you say, he's been injured. Picked up an injury, I think, against Town in his last game for Northampton, and been out for about a month. A foot injury, but they say he's fully fit now. Yeah, it was the worst kept secret, because even Grant McCann tried to announce it for us in his pre-match press conference for Doncaster. I don't know if you saw that.
That was priceless.
So I still don't. I don't like that, guys. How did you feel about
that? Well, after what happened on Saturday with Doncaster and the bench, and I just think Doncaster or Grant McCann, I'm going to use quite a strong word, but I think the word classless applies to Doncaster and Grant McCann and the setup there at the moment. Very, very Billy Big Bollocks, very, very got a lot to say for themselves, but ultimately try to force a rivalry with City, and have done for a few years.
You're not having a Mayor. You didn't have a last season, did you?
Well, the thing is, mate, I don't really care about them themselves. I think they've forced a rivalry. What City fans have had a problem with has been more the individual in Jordan Gibson, who used to play for City. That's where the sort of animosity is between him and City's fans and him. And Doncaster fans seem to attack that upon City and now hate just force a rivalry with City because we don't like Jordan Gibson. But Grant McCann, just a couple of things he's done. That's 2 or 3 things that I just think a bit classless, really. Don't need to do stuff like that. Just keep your powder dry, mate. I think Graham Alexander he didn't call him it, but he used the word for Mourinho after his match on Saturday, talked about mind games and says he doesn't get into things like that. So I think the feeling runs a bit deep. I just think Grant McCann should have just kept his gob shut, really, and could do on a few occasions.
Yeah, well, there was a ticket thing, wasn't there, as well? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was that, and then obviously there's the iPad thing at the weekend, which he's now denied. He's come out, he's been asked about it today, and says that never happened. But he's always
What's that?
I don't know if it did or not, but the rumor of it, someone obviously saw it. Otherwise, the rumor wouldn't have started. It was Simon Parker that put it in the TNA on the TNA blog that this iPad thing had gone on. So I don't know where Simon got the story.
What's the iPad thing?
It's obviously come from somewhere.
So the iPad thing, Steve, is that basically the goal that was ruled out for handball by Caden Jackson that he scored was initially given by the linesman and the referee. And then for some reason, the fourth official, after 45 seconds, a minute or so, is kind of changed. He's had a word with the referee to kind of change the mind. And what's been alleged is that basically somebody on the Doncaster bench has seen it on an iPad, shown the fourth official the iPad, and saying, look, there's a handball. And that's then what's led to the decision being overturned to not give the goal. The only thing with this is, and I've seen people on social media kind of basically saying, well, has anybody actually seen it in terms of like there's so many images of the bench at the time and all from photographers and stuff, but there doesn't seem to be any actual definitive proof one way or the other that it did actually happen. Is the only thing at the moment.
That's what I was trying to get out there, Chris. The first time I saw it, I think Simon Parker put it on the blog, on the match blog on Saturday, because we were all wondering what was going on. And I actually, while the game was paused, I went on the match blog and looked, and he put it on there. But I don't know where he's got the story from. But then it's obviously run. And now Grant McCann's been asked about it today and said that it never happened, that they didn't do that. So I don't know. But he's always going to deny it, anyway, whether he did or not. He's not going to admit it.
Yeah, 100%.
It opens a hell of a can of worms if he admits to doing something like that. So whether he did or not, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know where the story came initially from.
Yeah, I'm just trying to picture myself in that press box at my parade and kind of think to myself, and like, how easy is it to see down to the dugout, for example? Obviously, when we're dug outside, you can't see into it, but if he's come out of the dugout, then you probably stand a chance. So if he's come out with an iPad, then maybe that's what Simon's seen. But it's
I don't know if it's Simon that's seen it. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if he's the one who saw it. Someone's told him. He put it on the match blog, but I presume if he might not have seen it, someone's maybe told him that that's what's happened. Then it's gone on the match blog, and the story's just run.
I love stuff like this in the EFL. Like, it's not good for you guys, but it's just little stuff like this just remains in fans' memories for like 20 years. You know what I mean?
This could never happen in the Prem, could it either? Because there's too many cameras about from every angle possible.
But it's like an example. I'll give you an example. It's not to do with an iPad, but our ball boy, we once played Millwall in a game, and Millwall had a player that loved to dry the ball on towels. So our ball boy went round and nicked all the towels off the side of the pitch, and he's like running down the touchline. So this and there's all us singing because the Millwall player came up and he was looking for the towel at the back of the awnings, and we're just singing, "Where's your towel gone? Where's your towel gone?" And he's getting proper peed off, and he starts having a go at us in the stands. And we won that game and stuff like that. And that's about 4 years ago, but I still remember it.
Well, the thing is with that, though, the towel thing, like, that's meant to be agreed before the game. That's meant to be agreed before the game. Both sides are meant to agree whether a towel can be used for a throw-in, to dry the ball for throw-ins or not. But it's
just it was just hilarious.
Agreed on it, whether it can or can't happen. There shouldn't be any debate as to whether you can do it or not, because the both meant to decide whether it happens or not.
I did not know that there had to be an agreement on that at all. I genuinely just thought it was each club for themselves, whether they do or don't sort of thing. I had no idea that there was supposed to be an agreement in place for two clubs, because I've seen for years, especially with Lincoln over the years in the National League, and when we had used long throws religiously. You just see this kind of thing all the time in the lower leagues.
Another move that's just come through, Chris. Our former captain Richie Smallwood has left Tranmere and gone to Bristol Rovers till the end of the season.
It's been a busy day for Steve Evans, which is no surprise because the man loves a transfer.
Oh, he loves a deal, doesn't he? The EFL's version of Harry Redknapp.
Yeah, absolutely. Just as you say, that's gone through. Just to kind of finish, because I forgot to let you come back to Steve's original question then of where would you mark the Bradford transfer window? I feel like if we'd have asked you this a week ago, it would have been, well, not on the scale of 0 to 10. But now, any better?
Middling, 5 or 6, I suppose. I think we've just replaced what's gone, really. Whether they're upgrades or not will remain to be seen. But we have at least now appear to have replaced everybody that's left, apart from maybe a centre half. But that we look possibly a central midfielder and a centre half light, to me, at least. We had 3 central midfielders before today because Patterson had gone and not really been replaced. We had Tommy Lee, Jensen Metcalf and Max Power, and now Tommy Lee's gone. So this signing that the deal sheet's in for could be a central midfielder. It could be a centre-half because we play 3 centre-halves. We've got 5 on the books at the moment, or 5 out-and-out centre-halves on the books. Maybe we need another one there. But there is versatility in the squad. Ibu Toure can cover centre-half as well as left wing-back. Joe White, who's coming on loan from Newcastle, and Louis Sibley, although they've played to either side of the front men when they've played this season, both can play central midfield. So I think, maybe 5 or 6. I think that what they have done well, what I will point out, and is a positive, is that they've got rid of players who probably would have been moved on in the summer anyway. I was looking at the squad. Just let me bring it up on my phone. I was looking at the squad earlier on today, and most of the players, not all of them, but I would say just about everyone who's under contract past the summer, so after summer 26, will be in the manager's plans. There's nobody there that you'd say we need to try and move them on in the summer, apart from possibly Tommy Lee, but he's gone out on loan today, so that could lead to a permanent move. So it's good to be in that position where players, we're not going to be stuck with players in the summer who we're going to be trying to move on, because that's where we've been for the last few years.
So you've got a timesheet still in, Gaz? Is that what you're saying?
I believe so, yeah.
A deal sheet.
Deal sheet, whatever it's called. Just on that, by the way, I don't know if anybody remembers this. Though Town fans will definitely remember this that's watching this. A few years ago, when we signed Rolando Aarons from Newcastle, people will remember that we sent it to the fax machine a minute late, so we missed the chance to get him. He came 6 months later. He played about 2 games and was injured for the entire time he was at Town. He then left on a free. So that was one of the most weird. I think he came in 2019 or 2020, something like that. Anyway, he came, and yeah, we missed. We somebody lost the paper to go in the fax machine or something, or didn't know how to work the fax machine, and that's why we couldn't sign him.
He was really highly rated at one point, Rolando Aarons. I've just looked; he's at Morecambe now.
I was just about to say he played against Rochdale on Boxing Day for Morecambe.
When did we sign him, Gaz? Have you got his wiki up there?
When did you sign him? 2021, mate.
2021, yeah. So it was it a Cowley signing? Might have been a Cowley signing. I can't remember. But and when did he leave?
2023.
Yeah, so he was here 2 years, and he was. How many games did he play? About 8, 10?
11 league games, it says.
11. 11 league games in 2 years. Oh God!
But he was really, really highly rated, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we didn't. I don't think we paid a fee for him, from what I remember. Or if we did, it was low. It was low.
Undisclosed fee, apparently. But then, to be fair, he was loaned out in August of 2022 as well. So he ended up out on loan at Motherwell before he left.
Yeah, but he got injured there as well. I don't think he played a lot of games for Motherwell.
I think that he's one of those players that you will look back on and think what could have been had it have been like if not for the injuries. Because as you say, he was highly rated as a youngster, and then his career has just gone peculiar. Like he ended up playing in Slovenia, at Cluj. He was on trial in Georgia apparently, and then rocked up at Morecambe in the summer as one of
when you do them quiz questions where you just screenshot a player's like career history. He'd be a proper Arden with Rolando Aarons.
The thing is, it's one of those players who's highly rated at Newcastle, but he still ended up actually making 22 appearances for Newcastle and then being loaned out to 5 different clubs before he joined Town. So, interesting career, it's fair to say. That kind of... I mean, let's just have a quick look ahead, I guess, to the weekend, really, now that obviously all the transfer speculation can be put to bed. Downsy, obviously, last weekend, a win away at Peterborough. 3 wins on the bounce for Ryan Mane. Going into next weekend.
Yep, playing Blackpool. It's going to be a difficult game against an Ian Evatt team. You always know what you're going to get with an Ian Evatt side. You know, it's going to be a bit of a fight, bit of a tussle. I think his name's Ashley Fletcher, lad up top for them.
Yeah.
He's the danger man. Seems to be having a good season.
He's one of them players.
If you want.
Yeah, guys, go on,
Chris, Go on, Chris. You say what you're going to say.
Well, I was just going to say that he's one of those players that again days was really highly rated because he's a big lad. He's what, 6'3", 6'4", something like that. He's pacer, but then at some clubs he just couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo.
Yeah.
And then he's had a season like he's having now at Blackpool. Go on, Gaz.
He's a Bradford lad. He's Ashley Fletcher. Yeah. There is a rumour doing the rounds earlier in the window that City were looking at trying to bring him in. He's been linked with us before, probably because he's a Bradford lad. But yeah, since he's out of contract in the summer, and it's quite interesting that since Ian Everett's gone in there, he suddenly started scoring for fun. He's not really done it prolifically anywhere, but since Everett's gone in, at whatever they've done with him, he started scoring, and he looks like the player that we always knew he could be, because obviously, like you say, he was highly rated as a lad at Man United. And the story wasn't it, that when Rashford got his debut at Man United, that he was actually behind Fletcher in the pecking order, but Fletcher was injured at the time, and Rashford was younger. So when Rashford ended up making the step up, that obviously he just went on and flourished, and Ashley Fletcher ended up getting released. He got to Middlesbrough. I think he went to Middlesbrough, didn't he, or Watford?
He ended up at Sunderland. He was on that documentary, wasn't he?
I think you're right. I think he was at Middlesbrough at one point. He's just had, as I say, one of those careers where you look at, especially what you were saying then about, being injured at United. He went to West Ham from Manchester United and then went to Middlesbrough. Yeah, but I mean, you look at his goals return, and I mean, I'm just taking this off Wiki, so it's a little bit of a pinch of salt, etc. But from Manchester United, he had a loan spell at Barnsley, 5 in 21. Then he went to West Ham, didn't score at all in 16. At Middlesbrough, he scored 19 in 92 games over 4 years. Then he had a loan spell at Sunderland, 2 in 16. Then he ended up at Watford with loan spells at New York Red Bulls, Sheffield Wednesday, and Wigan Athletic. And combined there, he played 56 games, I think, and scored 2 goals between those 3 clubs combined. And his record for Blackpool was 23 and 68. So, and most of those, I think, have come this season.
Yeah, they've come since Ian Everett went in, haven't they?
Yeah. I think he's like you said, Chris, he's a big striker, got a bit of pace about him, very useful up top. I mean, they have only, what's that, 1 in 6, lost the other 5. So
they started to climb, didn't they? They started to climb when Everett went in, because I remember we drew 2-2 at their place. They gave us a really good game. And then that form, that kind of, I dare say, honeymoon period, to use your cliche, is ended, and they just seem to be dropping like a stone again back towards the bottom, so back into the bottom 4.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good chance for I mean, I never thought we'd get 4 from 4 with a new manager coming in, but I tell you what, the one thing against Peterborough, look, I thought we were going to draw that game at 2-2, and yet the lads have pulled it out the bag with fantastic against Blackpool. That'd be brilliant. And it's going to be a tough test, though. So, yeah.
I imagine, Gaz, you were the same as me when you looked at the scores and saw that Huddersfield had bloody won that late on after being pegged back to 2 apiece.
Yeah, I was watching this because obviously City were the early kickoff. So I got home. By the time I got home back here, it was like half time in the 3 o'clocks. And I obviously monitored them through the second half. And I saw Town, I think you were 2-0 up, weren't you, Downsy? 2-0 up at Peterborough. And they got it back to 2-2. Yeah. And I thought when it went back to 2-2, it's like anything. If anyone's going to go on and win that game, it's probably going to be Peterborough. So when you scored, but around the time you scored, Stockport scored their winner as well, because I can't remember who they were playing, but they'd been pegged back to 1 apiece and looked like they were going to draw. Plymouth that was it.
Yeah.
I think there was
infuriating sat in that way and at Wigan watching you.
I think there was some key results at the weekend, because obviously City won. They got back on track, against Doncaster. You guys won, I think, at with Lincoln. So it was a good week really for the top 6. I do think there's a bit of a gap opening up now. You can see that. So it's going to be a right rumble, isn't it, till the end of the season? But listen, Manning's just got this week. This is the first week since he's only been in the building a week. he's got a full week now, so it's going to be really interesting to see what he does with the players. We all said yesterday on the show, he doesn't need to overcomplicate it. Just keep doing what they're doing. I think the reason why we conceded them 2 late goals against Peterborough was for the sheer fact that we have played the previous 2 games of a combined 90 minutes with 10 men. So the lads were going to be shattered, weren't they? You know, and we played two good teams before that in Bradford and Luton. Let's not, forget that. So, yeah. Listen, I think I went for what did I go for yesterday? I think a 2-0 win. I went for Town yesterday.
Just looking at the comments as well. I'm curious. I don't know if Edward's a Lincoln fan or whether he's saying that to me and he's a Cardiff fan or something. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. And John, who's joined us with a few comments, makes the point: Barnsley start their games in hand tomorrow night against Northampton Town at home, which means in theory, if they were to win them all, they would be on the same points as Town. But I'll be honest, I can't see Barnsley getting anywhere near the playoffs now. At one point, I thought they may well, when they had 3 games in hand and they were sitting 9th, I thought, you know what, there's a chance that they will make the playoff places. But now, and having lost Davis Keeler done, I think Barnsley are well out of it myself. Don't know what you two think of that for the Tykes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry.
Go on, Gaz. We've choked Steve. Apparently, we've brought him to.
No, I agree. Really, they actually played some really good stuff when they came to us earlier in the season. But I think, like you said, losing Keeler Dunn's massive. Tom Bradshaw's not really a direct replacement, is he? They're totally different types of players. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Yeah, absolutely.
Quick question as well for you, Steve. That's just come in. The signings today, in particular, I'm guessing that he's referring to here is: do we think that these signings are Manning signings rather than obviously the kind of recruitment team that you might have looked at before?
A bit of both, but Manning has said quite voraciously in the last week, post-match, particularly after the last game with Bojan's injury, so post-Luton, pre-Peterborough and post-Peterborough, he said he wants a different type of centre-forward, a different model than Alfie May and Dion Charles. So it's quite clear that's what we've gone out and signed. So I think Ryan Hardy's definitely a man that, whether we've been scouting him for a while or whatever, I think that's a man that Manning said, yeah, I want him in the building. And Bobby Wales, we've been linked with him all window, so that wasn't really.
I'm really intrigued about Bobby Wales. I must admit, I am quite curious to see how he gets on, just because as a Lincoln fan, he was linked with us as well earlier in the window. Honestly, I think Bobby Wales has been linked with like 21 of the 24 League One sides at some point over the course of January. Everyone's
except for City
looking at Bobby Wales just because of what a peculiar chap he is in terms of being born in Ireland, plays for Scotland, surname Wales.
He's an unknown, isn't he? He's an unknown.
Yeah, he's played so few games. He played, I think, 30-odd games for Kilmarnock, scored only a couple of goals, then joined Swansea, and has only, I think, played 4 games this season. Did he have a loan spell last season? I can't remember when I was looking at him. But this season, I think he played like 4 games all in the cup or something and scored 1.
Yeah, I think he can. He's a young lad, so I think he'll be able to play anywhere in that front 3 that Manning likes to play with. We play with a 3-4-3 system, so I can see him sort of interchanging within the positions for sure. Where Ryan Hardy won't.
Alloa, that was where he had that loan spell. He had a loan spell from Kilmarnock at Alloa Athletic, which is Scottish League 1, I think. And he scored 12 in 27 for them. So, yeah, be interesting to see how he gets on. Gaz, going to finish on you in terms of looking ahead to the weekend. Another 12:30 kickoff, which I'm sure you're delighted about. Actually, I'll say that. It's a 12:31 kickoff, isn't it? All the games kick off 1 minute later as part of the British Heart Foundation's Every Minute Matters campaign.
Chris, I can't believe Gaz hasn't written a letter to the EFL about these 12:30 kickoffs. Gaz, get your email out, get your letter out, type a letter up, send it in. Just say that you're disgusted.
Facts.
Your fax machine.
Money talk. Money talks. The clubs have taken the TV deal, and we've all got to lump it. It could be worse. Like I say, it's not one of them where I've not had to go to one of those games where you've got no chance of getting home if you're on public transport, which some fans just get totally screwed over, don't they? We've got Luton away. I would never have, it's not like the Huddersfield game where I might have gone to it if it had been a later kickoff. The Luton game I would never have gone. Been to Luton before. Would never be going down there again. I think it's a tough game. I like in and around the playoffs, aren't they? If they win, they pull themselves right back into the mix, I suppose. If we win, we stretch that gap a little bit further. Jack Wilshere probably under pressure there because they've not had the massive uplift that they hoped he'd have when he first went in. Interesting game. Interesting to see how it went on. It was just important for us to bounce back on Saturday because obviously we'd had 3 back-to-back defeats. It was really important for us to get 3 points like we did on Saturday. It was a tough game, to be honest. It was quite an end-to-end game. There were chances at both ends. I think if anyone did deserve to win it, it was us. And fortunately, we did that. It was a great finish from Tyreek Wright. I don't know if you lads saw it. It was a hell of a volley.
Yes. Stunning. Absolutely stunning finish.
Obviously, we played Luton only the other day, guys. They're not a fantastic side, mate. But they're all right. They're half decent, but they're not. For the squad that they've got, they should be doing better. Secondly, don't pull Casey Palmer's hair because you'll just get a 4-match ban.
Head pulling's a red card.
Yeah, it is. Simple as that. I mean, to be fair,
I haven't seen the incident down, so all I've seen is that he's pulled his hair. So to me, if you pull his hair, it's a red card.
Gaz,
I haven't actually seen the specific.
Don't round me up, Gaz.
I mean, to be fair as well, guys, Lincoln played Luton away not too long ago. We were 2-0 up in that game and drew 2-2 in the end. So, I think it's one of those for Luton. They're a lot stronger at Kenilworth Road, I think, than they are away from home.
City have made a signing. It's gone through.
Hang on.
We've signed Lee Evans, central midfielder from Blackpool, till the end of the season.
Fair enough. I've heard of him. It's a solid start. The footballer, not the comedian.
Yeah, not the comedian. He actually was on loan with us about 10 years ago when Parkinson were manager, and he was absolutely fantastic. I believe he's had a lot of injury problems since then, and Blackpool fans don't necessarily speak too highly of him. But if he can rediscover his form that he's had in the past, he's a hell of a signing. So like I said, when we were in League One before the Parky, we had him, and he was absolutely fantastic on loan.
Was he on loan from Wolves at the time?
I think he might have been, mate. Yeah, I'm just going to have a look now.
Yeah.
I think it was Wolves.
I think he was a Wolves.
I think he went to Wigan, didn't he?
Yes.
Is he like 30, 31, Gaz? He's old, isn't he?
Just going to look now. He was brilliant for us when we had him on loan, but like I said, that's going back 10 years. He's 31, yeah.
Deadline day. 31, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we had him on loan from Wolves. Then he went on loan to Wigan. And then he signed for Sheffield United permanently before going back to Wigan permanently. He's been about a bit. Ipswich, then he had a spell at Ipswich, spell at Pompey, spell at Blackpool, and now he's rocked up at City on deal till the end of the season. I think that's fills the gap that we'd let go. That fills the gap in central midfield, put it that way. We've now got some cover in there for Metcalfe and Power.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
What I will say is the next time we do transfer deadline day, for those that are viewing, if there is a late signing, Chris will make specific yellow and black banners to go for breaking news.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm disappointed that we said it before. I was talking to some friends earlier. Deadline day should always be like an 11 p.m. or midnight deadline. Like none of this 7 o'clock. I mean, even Scotland get the excitement till 11 o'clock tonight. I think it is. So, it just ruins it. Like we've had some good streams in the past that admittedly have been about 4.5 to 5 hours long, covering deadline day from about 8 p.m. through until about 1:30, 2 in the morning or something daft. But, they were good streams and that's what deadline day should be all about for me.
You love it, don't you, Chris? You love deadline day.
None of this 7 p.m. all the agents and secretaries tucked up in bed by 10. Like, what's all that about?
It does take the drama of like having a player driving around London who thinks he's going to QPR at 10:59 p.m. You know what I mean?
Did he just rock up at the training ground or something?
No,
we're not signing you. Go away.
He turned up at Loftus Road when Harry Redknapp was the QPR manager. The honest to God, this has been half the problem with how little action there's been in deadline day today. Is I reckon they've gone through that story about 14 different times on Sky Sports News alone over the course of the day.
So he rocked.
Go on, Downsy.
We'd love to sign you, but we can't. And then there was no fee agreed, so he was just they booked a hotel room somewhere near Loftus Road, and they just went. He was just driving around London for like an hour. If anybody goes to watch the Under the Cost podcast, he tells the story brilliantly on there. It goes on for about half an hour. It's fun.
Who's the guest when they tell the story? Does it Adam Wingy himself?
Yeah, Adam Wingy himself. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be worth a watch. Actually, you know what?
Which nobody's ever really heard his version of events, because obviously
I was just thinking this.
He went from West Brom to the deal was from West Brom to QPR, and obviously he'd and what made it weird was obviously the next day in training he said that he had to go back into the West Brom dressing room and go, "All right, lads, I did say bye to you like 12 hours ago, but I'm back."
Can you imagine that level of awkwardness?
The West Brom fans obviously didn't get on with him after that, did they? But he did play for West Brom for a number of years. So yeah, if anybody does get the chance, do go listen to that his side of the story, because it is really fascinating.
Another deal's gone through, lads. A town departure, Downsy.
Oh, Gaz is giving me news.
I've just seen it flash up on my phone because I'm logged into the West Yorkshire football account on Twitter, so I get notifications from our clubs because Lou set them up ages ago. Your lad Ruben Ruskins has left.
Has he gone to Oxford?
He's gone to Oxford, mate. Yeah, on loan.
And I thought, yeah. So that.
I'm sure not half an hour. Stephen Downs said there's talk of Ruben Ruskins leaving because he wants to be closer to home.
Yeah, he does.
The Netherlands is not bloody Oxford.
No, but there is a thing with this. So he does want to go closer to home. That is absolutely true. However, I don't think that they could get a deal done quick enough to get him back to the Netherlands. So I suppose to get him game time.
Oxford's the middle ground, is it?
Oh yeah, I suppose so. In this scenario,
it should have gone to Hull. Like, if he wants to be in middle ground to bloody the Netherlands, like,
but I don't think
to Hull. It could be in Rotterdam overnight on a ferry.
Obviously, Hull weren't interested, were they? I just think. I mean, I don't even know if he's going to play at Oxford. It's just a bit of a mad move. I don't know who their fullbacks are, so I don't know.
It just seemed a little bit. I mean, look. I mean, I know Lou earlier loves to coin the phrase "panic buy," but it does seem a bit of a strange one. I mean, from a town perspective, Downsy, how much had he featured over the course of this first half of the season? Okay, not at all.
A bit. Well, yeah, he'd been in some games, but not like as a starter, because obviously he plays on the same side as Miller, and now we've got Ballimumba. So, you know, Miller obviously played and then he got injured, so Ruskin came back. And then Grant started messing around with the system and whatever, so he didn't really play with a proper fullback, and then he started putting Gooch at left back and whatever. And then we bought Ballimumba. So really, Ruben's just not... He were never going to get a game. I mean, Mumba's the type of lad really... I mean, I'm going to say this by touching wood, to not really get injured. So...
now you've done it.
Q get an injury tomorrow. So, yeah, he won't going to play. I don't know if he's going to play at Oxford. That's a really weird... Like, for town, I'm not really bothered. Doesn't really make a difference to us, but for Oxford, yeah, bit of a weird move for Oxford, that.
I suppose from a town perspective, it's just recouping some of the coinage that you'll be paying out towards Ryan Hardy's wages at Wrexham. So
probably. It doesn't really make a difference to my rating of the window because he wasn't gonna play. I think there was just obviously with some ins, there needed to be some outs, didn't they? So Herbie Kane is probably the more strange one. Ruben going to Oxford, Chapman going on loan, things like that. So, yeah, he will go back to the Netherlands in the summer, 100%.
Yeah.
And all he will be remembered for, really, is having a decent corner and getting sent off 5 minutes into his debut. That might sound harsh, but it's quite true.
Well, there we go.
He seems a nice lad as well, Like, whenever he's done the media stuff, he seems like a decent lad. So it's a shame, really, but...
It's just one of those things that sometimes things just don't quite work out, especially when you end up moving for another country. We'll round it up there then. Of course, at the weekend, as we touched on, Bradford away at Luton Town. Huddersfield are at home to Blackpool, and Lincoln. We're away at Plymouth Argyle, which, they've made a few signings today, I think, of Plymouth, so I'm not over. In fact, that's got Herbie Kane being a pain in the ass written all over it.
Come on, Herbie. Come on, do it, lad. Do it for the town.
Lawrence Large is the one to watch, Chris.
Yes. Yeah, big striker.
Are you going, Chris?
Player. So, yeah.
Are you going? Are you going down to Plymouth?
You know what? I won't be. I'm not, but I won't be a million miles away. I will be in Yeovil for Yeovil versus Rochdale on commentary duty. But yeah,
yeah.
Right. We will end it on that. Big thank you to everyone that's joined us over the course of the evening and got your comments in. As I say, it's not been quite the same as our usual deadline day streams due to a bloody stupid early finish for the transfer window. But we hope you've enjoyed it anyway. If you caught us late, you can watch it from the start again on YouTube. And we'll be back over the course of the week with different shows on the channel as well. Just check out our social media pages on X at the West Yorkshire Football Show and on Facebook as well for those. Jay and Brownie, I'm sure, will have some Leeds content. And then we know Steve, you'll be back on Sunday with the aftermath of whatever happens against Blackpool at the weekend. We'll be back next week with our usual Monday night show as well, looking back at the weekend's action. So we shall see you soon here on the West Yorkshire Football Show. From myself and Gaz and Stephen, good night.